How you doing, everybody? Randy Richard in the shop. Oh, another update here. I'm going to start showing the machining of the Scribe. I described last time and showed you, well, I finished the ones of this batch at least that I'm going to be making. Here they are. I don't know if you can, they're shiny, so a little hard to get probably a good focus on that. This part unscrews, just a few turns, 3 or 4 turns, that's it. Carbide, sharpened to a point. Then it flips around, screws in as the handle. Measured it, huh? So that's 5 inch. That's 5 inches long now. It's a very handy size. It's a pocket scribe, so you can just throw it in your pocket. It'll stay shiny. I engrave them with RR in the shop, a serial number, USA, and then your initials or your name if it's not too long. I can get about 12, 14 characters on there, depending on kind of what characters, even with spaces on there. And I don't charge for engraving or anything. It's just something that I do for it and make it personalized and everything. They came out really nice, a little detail on the handle and colored. If you want one, email me. A few people have contacted me through Facebook, but I'm going to ask you to email me. Email is the best way for me. My cell phone stuff really doesn't work here at the house, so I rarely have my phone on unless I'm using it for filming. So email. RR in the shop. So for a modest donation of $40, I'm actually saying what I'm going to ask for. I'm asking for them. Some people have already pre-ordered them when I first showed it without even being done. I only have 20 left. So if you want one, I don't know when or if I'm going to make any more of these. These were a huge amount of work, I must say. Even using the Turrett really make the work go quickly, but there's still a lot of work. It was all the setup stuff. So I'm going to rethink now. If there's a big demand for them, I will make another batch. That's for sure. If there's a lot of people who want them, no problem. But I only have 20 left from the guys who jumped all over it as soon as that other video was done. As soon as it was up. Literally, Joseph there, he must have saw it when it first came up and emailed me right away. And another guy, Steve, he made a comment. He was the first one to make a comment that he wanted one. You know, those guys were on top of it, I guess. But I still have 20 left, and they come in. Whoa! They come in I put them in the Scribe in the Carbide plastic tube to recycle the tubes, which is pretty handy. The Carbide is, you know, if you grind it and use a line, it's 3 inches long, and you can actually, it's just been there Loctite, and if you heat it up, you can actually pull it out and re-Loctite it in and get some more length out of it and things like that. It should last you a lifetime pretty much. But if you had to replace it, just you heat it up, pull the Carbide out, pop a new one in. Send $40 to PayPal. Now, I ought to explain something about PayPal. PayPal charges you a fee. If you go through their goods and services part to send money to somebody to buy something, let's say, they charge you a fee. It's like 2%. If you send it through the friends or family, there's no fees. So I ask you to, if you can, send it through friends and families, because I end up paying the fee. This all helps support the channel. Any money, any revenue I bring in from any of these things, the dovetail cutter, the Scribes now also, just helps support the channel. So I ask you to do it that way. I guarantee the item. If it gets lost in the mail, I'll send another one. I don't have a problem with it. I've never had anything returned from dovetail cutter or Scribe so far. Nothing's been returned. Everybody's been very happy so far with them. I get some very, very nice emails, and I thank everyone who has donated and received a gift from me. They are good tools, and everybody likes them, so that's all I can say. I do appreciate everybody helping out with the channel and everything. I don't mean to make this into a commercial or anything like that. So, but if you want a Scribe, you know, you're going to have to be on it here. Like I said, there's only 20 left. Thank you, Keith the Man Fenner. Get her done. I'm all about getting her done. I hate really having projects linger on myself. I like to get them done. And I have a closing lathe behind me that needs to get done. I am going to get it done. It's going to get done hopefully before summer even. Man, I need to get it done actually. I want to use it so I can use it kind of more for maybe making dovetail cutters, and so I can leave it set up. You're the man. He sent me a couple stickers for helping out, and this card. Turrett Machine Works for helping out. What's in your box? So thank you again, Keith, for doing that. On to, I'm going to start with the machining stuff with the turret and some of the tooling, and different than the stuff you saw before. Show you how I made them. Email me, get yourself a Scribe before they run out. If these all go real quick, I will make another batch. I want to be able to take some. I'll be at the bash, the summer bash at Stan's, and I want to have some Scribes with me and dovetail cutters. I will. I plan on donating also a dovetail cutter like I did last year for the raffle, and I'm going to donate a Scribe. I don't want the Scribe to go as a raffle thing. I want it to go as a prize for probably a layout competition. I think that's what Tom is probably going to do, another layout competition thing. So I'd like to donate that as a prize for the layout competition. Anyway, that's about it. Thanks for everybody for subscribing and watching the videos, actually supporting the channel. It's very, very nice of you, the donation for these things. And I mean, I like to be able to produce a product like the Scribes and the dovetail cutter. I'd like to be able to give back a little bit of something for that effort of support. We'll talk to you later. Enjoy the video, and thanks a lot for watching. Here we have the attachment for the double tool post set up for the Logan lathe, and it goes on the ways, obviously, and it operates back and forth, so you can have two tools set up. What I'm going to set up is a parting tool and a facing tool for this next project. So I'll be able to have my workpiece I'll part it off and in the chuck, so it will stick out a little bit, and then we'll be able to come in and face it, so it's ready for the next operation off the turret. And these are the tool posts. I have two tool posts that can go on here, and T-nuts, and you can mount tools on actually either side. So you could actually do it two operations almost if you really wanted to, but this side's set up here for a 3/8 tool bit, and this side's more of a 1/2 inch, but also, or a larger tool I should say. And we have adjustable blocks here, step block. You can see how they're toothed along their edges. And I have another one here. Now this one only has one tool holder side. So we'll set those up. One on the front and then one on the back. One will be a facing tool, one will be a parting tool. And I'll be able to come in and, let's say, if I put the parting in the back, I would pull on the handle and feed it in, part it off, and then I would come forward with the facing tool and face it off. And then I would be in a neutral, let's say, position while I do the other processes with the turret. It has a couple of detent oilers here. It has a gib. Here's a gib adjusting screws. And underneath, this is pretty simple. It just sits, like I said, sits on the ways, clamps down into a position, you leave it there. And it has stops, adjustable. This rod here is adjustable stops, in and out, right? We'll have that adjusted. Pretty simple deal. It takes a little bit to get set up, but not too bad. And you can run it off like I did there. I can run it off so I can adjust my handle into the position I want it to be in. Because this gear is round, as you can see here. So you can adjust it so that the handle is in whatever position what's good for you. Well, we'll get that all adjusted. So we'll have that on there, and then we'll have the turret. We won't be using the carriage. We're going to get the carriage out of the way. Whether I have to take it off, I don't think I have to take it off. I think I can run it back far enough on the carriage so it won't be in the way. So another new tool here to show you with the turret operation for this next project. In a previous video I had showed the tapping head I have, and now this is an R and L tools number 1 tapping head. You can make it tap right hand or left hand taps, using taps. What I did is I took it apart, other than just to make sure it was clean and stuff, but it's not going to hold. The adapter piece is for the, I want to use a 5/16 tap, and this is kind of set up for a 1/4 inch tap, this piece here, but this piece is a piece you can make pieces for, or I guess buy adapters for, to hold different size taps. Well, anyway, I thought I'd show you how it's made, and such. So it's all apart here, a lot of parts to it. Oops. And we'll go through it here. So this is the body of it, and you can see in here there's holes for these little screws that come in from the back, and there's other divots down in here for the kind of ratchet plate, I guess you could call it. This is the plate that sits down in there. Now I'm going to try to show you this. One side has a R on it, right there. The other side has an L for left hand. So it matters how you put it in if you're going to be doing right hand taps or left hand taps. Because of the ramp. There's a ramp here so it will disengage. And then the other way, the ramp is obviously on the other side for left hand. This part here sits down in the divot and when we put it in. So we're going to be assembling this here. So we're going to have R is going to be up. That's going to drop in there, and those other ramp pieces slip down into the notches down inside there. Now this piece here has a hex hole in the center. It's threaded, and that holds that plate in there. Wasn't in there very tight. It's just almost like it was finger tight, basically. That's all I used. I didn't. It's only I had to use a socket. It was 9mm actually to fit that. It was nothing. I had nothing to fit, and it was kind of a strange size. So I'm just going to put that in there hand tight like it was. That kind of retains that. Now it's kind of loose in there. Okay, so here's the piece that goes in the center here, and you'll see it has dogs, 3 dogs on it. And there's this little flipping dog kind of here. Here we go. We'll flip it out there. You can see that.
Anyway, that flips back and forth, right? And there's an R right there, and there's an L on this side. So for what you're doing, right or left hand thread, that's where this little spring goes, in this little hole right there underneath the dog. We're going to flip that over. It sits on the right hand side. See, now that kind of springs out a little bit. And that has to do with the change of direction for when you're backing out the tap. But for tapping purposes, you want it for right hand or left hand, so you have it on the right hand side. Those dogs are the drive dogs. Those engage down in those other dogs that we just put back in. Now there's also a small cover, like washer, a cup washer, goes over that center piece. And then there's a spring. A tapered type spring. It sits down in there. And this all just slips inside there. And you can feel how it locks and such. Now to retain that in, that shaft is threaded on the end. There's a spring that goes down in here. And I might have to put that in separately here. It really fits. It's made to fit really tight for some reason. Okay, I had to kind of push that spring down in there with a screwdriver. And we'll put this back together, back in. Now there's a piece here. It's a kind of a nut with a hex in it. It goes in and engages that thread. And we'll take a hex key, spin that in tight. And that spring is one of the springs that is working against pulling when it pulls out and such. Now this is the adapter that was in there. Had a 5/16 hole in it, and it lines up with this set screw type hole here to lock in your tap. Now the screw that was in here is a square-headed set screw, but this is really too short. I think this has obviously probably been worked on several times, and so somebody put in a little tiny piece disc underneath the set screw to make up for the distance. So we're going to get rid of that. I made a new adapter piece for the larger tap, the 5/16 tap I'm going to use. And it's pretty basic hole. Now I did have to bore that hole to, I bored it to a very close tolerance for the tap to fit very nice in there. And yes, so it's just a perfect fit type of thing. So that goes in there. And we're going to replace that square head set screw with a standard set screw. And then now we'll go in and we'll line it up with the hole. Oh, there we go. For the tap. Now I'm going to line the set screw to land on the flat of the tap. Just loosen it until I feel it and lock it down on the square of the tap. That makes a cleaner install. It's basically flush with this, because this will spin, so you don't really want something big sticking out of there, and that head was sticking up. And then we just have these little screws down. These screws, I haven't really figured out the purpose of these screws, believe it or not. That they're very short. They go in there just a little bit. But I could not. They go underneath that dog plate, but they don't stick really through. So I'm not sure what the real purpose of these little screws are. But we'll put them back in. First, I'm going to clean these slots though. I cleaned the slots out with a little file, and I'm just going to screw those in there. They almost like they just plug the holes because I cannot figure out what they do. There we go, reassembled, ready for the turret.